and welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. I'm Maokpe Ogun Yusuf. Last week, we spoke with Professor Suleiman Bogoro of TED Fund on the plans of the institution to fund research and development in the light of medical threats such as COVID-19 and other new security threats. If you missed the interview, you can watch online at channelstv.com/programs. The aftershocks of COVID-19 are still reverberating today as the disruptions it brought about were as widespread as they were varied, especially in the wake of lockdown orders issued by many countries of the world. It meant that citizens had to evolve new ways of living and working, that is, for those whose livelihoods were not disrupted. On the home front, while many were grateful for the time at home, it was, however, a very trying period for people who lived alone or people who were victims of abuse. As a matter of fact, sexual and gender-based violence was said to have witnessed an exponential rise, and this made the news, especially when they led to the death of the victims. However, one class of victims who never got the attention they deserved was the elderly population, who had become not only vulnerable, as COVID-19 had proved particularly fatal in the demographic, but were even more susceptible to abuse in the instance where they lived away from their children or family members who were now restricted from visiting them as a result of the lockdown. On Hard Copy tonight, we speak with Damilola Grillo, an individual who's taken it upon herself to bring these cases to light. She is a gerontologist and advocacy director of Hold the Age, a non-governmental organization. Damilola Grillo, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it would seem that it was double jeopardy for the elderly. I don't know if that was, whether it was widespread, but they had to be targeted by a virus and also had to live with the consequences, which was supposed to prevent them from dying anyway.
Yeah.
How, from your interactions with them, how did they cope with this?
It was quite difficult for most older people because they didn't have their children come over like they used to from the abroad or even from the cities. And then the children kept, talking to them to stay away from the crowd, to keep to the precautions. But we didn't know what we were doing because quite a number of them were having mental breakdown. Old people, retired people are used to going to religious organizations, parties, Owambe, and that is how they interact and get their groove on. But now we have a pandemic that made them to stay at home. As someone that is very interactive with older people, I have a WhatsApp group of over 100 people where we discuss on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And, from the blues, I'll just receive a call or receive a message. Oh, what am I supposed to do at home? I can't go out. I can't do anything. My children will tell me, don't go out. They will send groceries. They will send all of that. But it is difficult for me to stay at home. And then we start the conversation, try to, draw them away from that mental state and let them understand that it is for your benefit. But at the same time, what we didn't understand is loneliness actually kills. Abuse started setting in. People started taking advantage of older adults, from neighbors to maybe house helps to caregivers to even relatives. And it was quite a torture for older adults.
But did we underestimate just how bad, or, psychologically, the lockdowns and the measures around COVID-19 restrictions? Did we underestimate just how much of an impact it was having on the psyche of the elderly in particular? Yes,
we underestimated it because we didn't know that older adults that are used to, they're not having interactions like day to day like they used to. Well, for those that worked before they retired and even the vulnerable ones out there that just maybe stroll around, have some fresh air and all of that, and then they're being restricted at home. Definitely, we underestimated it, and this affected a lot of them. Though elder abuse has been on that we don't really talk about in this climate because a lot of people do not even see it as elder abuse. like I tell people now that it's because of ignorance. There's something that I'm trying to come up with of the ignorant elder abuse that people do not talk about. And now because of the COVID-19, it was more evident. And a lot of people now started, asking questions. What is going on with my parents? I need somebody to reach out to my parents. I'm beginning to feel that my parents is not fine, or whatever situation they may be. Can somebody go talk to them? So from there, we found out that quite a lot of them were either lonely, where people were taking advantage of them, and then it went on and on and on like that.
We take pride in the fact that our elderly population, as they start to age, now begin to, in the worst case scenario, they live with their children, which we say is a good thing. I mean, we pride ourselves as that being one of the advantages. In fact, there have been studies as to how that is also beneficial to the upcoming generation, because when elderly population at home with their grandchildren, there is some knowledge transfer happening there, which the children too might not benefit from. Is that changing? The fact that, a lot of elderly people leave, or children are willing to take in their parents, and not leaving them alone. Is that changing?
Definitely, it will change. A lot of youths are moving out and leaving their parents here. Who is taking care of them? There are more homes now. People do not even believe that we have care homes in Nigeria. But I can categorically tell you that there are over 50 care homes in Nigeria.
50? Yeah,
there are over 50 care homes in Nigeria. Around states, even in Lagos, Abuja, Oyo states, there are care homes in Nigeria. And it will be better for us to start understanding that, to put things into perspective, that our older adults can actually have more professional care in care homes. So far, those care homes are regulated. You can't just leave your older adult to a relative that would then take on advantage of him or her. Let me give a scenario now. There are different cases of elder abuse. There are different types of elder abuse. We have physical, we have financial, we have sexual, we have emotional, psychological, we have abandonment, and we have self-abandonment self-neglect by the elder themselves. So all of this cumulative together shows that whatever is going on with our parents, with relatives, they will definitely take advantage of them. Let's say, for instance, now they have children abroad, and then they send an auntie from the village to come take care of Baba or Mama in the house, or take care of the father or the mother in the house. And this person notices that, this grandfather has access to money. She will definitely take advantage of it and say, the grandfather doesn't have anything he wants to use money to do, so why can't I be taken out of the money, or be putting the man under pressure to ask or steal the money? So that goes on. Also, there's the other aspect of the physical abuse, where vulnerable older adults are physically abused. You see bruises on their bodies, you see marks, falling tooth, and all of that, and you wonder what is going on.
How widespread is that? For those who live with their, I don't know how the amount of work that you've done, but in the cases where you have seen abuse, does it ever happen when elderly people are living with their children?
Yeah, it does.
So children too
abuse their parents. Children to abuse their parents. I've seen where a child told his father directly that, when are you going to die? Because you're not going to live forever, and you're still going to leave this money for me. That's financial abuse, because the child refused to work.
But how widespread is that?
It is, unfortunately, I sign a confidentiality agreement with all my clients, so you can't just say it's quite widespread. And these are parents that do not want to come out to let the world know that this is what they're going through, because they are also indulging there. You find well-learned people going through these stuff, and you're wondering, how did they get to this stage and they couldn't, cut it off. But unfortunately, there are also children that are lazy, that know that their parents have money. They're living off their parents' retirement funds. So that is also there. Apart from that, we know of the scams that is going on with retirement funds of older people, where they get a phone call, send your BVN, we're calling from the pension office. And before you know it, an elderly person just sends it to them, and the whole account is wiped off.
They are really vulnerable.
They're really vulnerable
to scams like that.
Yeah, to scams like that. So I educate my own WhatsApp group, the older adults that I have that all the time. So sometimes I had to go through the rigors of, this is how to protect yourself from getting your WhatsApp hacked, do a screen grab, do a step-by-step and send it to them. Sometimes they send me messages that, somebody asked for so and so BVN number, NIN number, and I'll tell them, don't send to anybody. If you would want to verify, make sure you get into your bank to do it.
How come it was that we didn't get, or no story of abuse, so to speak, really hogged the headlines the same way that stories of sexual and gender-based violence were hogging the headlines?
Okay, let me give you a scenario now. With what is going on with the media and everything, I know that I reached out to quite a number of media houses to talk about older adults. And all I keep getting is, sorry, we can't sponsor this.
Why?
Because they feel there's no money in it. So there's no sponsorship for it. I even had a pilot shoot of a program for older people where they can get engaged. And I'm looking for sponsors to take it on. And they're like, we would like to do more things for the youth. So why are we neglecting our older adults? There might be a minute of the population, of the whole population of Nigeria, but it is still more. There are over 10 million people above 65 years old in Nigeria presently. We can't say 10 million is not a significant number. If we are saying now that we can sponsor programs to enlighten the world or to enlighten Nigerians about older adults, we as youths, like I tell my friends, we are all going to grow together. What will happen to us then? So at that point, we'll be about 200 million people, or we'll be about 100 million older adults at that point. Because by 2050, by the year 2050, older adults above 60 to 65 years would have increased more by 25%. So let's start looking at it that, okay, we have older adults in our midst. We need to take care of them, especially the welfare. The government needs to do something about them. There is an organization body called COSROPIN who have been advocating for the welfare of older adults in Nigeria, trying to get a bill for to be signed by the Senate for the welfare of older adults. We've actually gotten to a stage. I'm a state coordinator of that organization in Lagos State. We've actually gotten to a very good stage with that, and we hope that that bill will be signed. But apart from that, can we have more enlightenment about older adults on the media, via the radio stations, via the TVs? These are what they watch. They won't go on YouTube. They won't Google anything. And this is their own channel to see what exactly is going on around them. That is how to get education out there about older people and how to engage, how to protect them, and how to make them more inclusive in the society. Even the vulnerable parts and the people living with dementia, these are the things we don't talk about at all. The dementia part is even much more difficult to talk about, because we now term people that have memory losses, people that are living with dementia, as witches and wizards. No, we need to educate everybody out there. There are even children that have they're living in denial because they do not want to believe, this is my mother, this is my father that has turned into this, because the person is living with dementia. And these are educated people that refuse to believe, and they need more education, more enlightenment to let them know that these are not like end of life termination kind of disease. They can live with it. So we need more enlightenment on the issues of older adults in Nigeria.
You've talked about ignorance abuse. What is that?
What I mean by ignorant abuse is this. We do things, actions, our acts, and we'll feel that it doesn't matter. You're giving your older parent food, and because the person is not forthcoming, eating very well, then you shove the food down the throat and say, I have to force the person to eat because an older adult is more like a child. They become children. That is what people see. And I say, no, they are different people. There is no one older adult that's the same with another person. They have similarities. So we have this ignorant aspect of elder abuse that you feel that what you're doing is normal, but it isn't. And another ignorant aspect is, the domestic staffs that we have around our older adults. Drivers shouting anyhow on the elderly, domestic staff shouting, and they do not know that, this person that you're working with, who is an older adult, may be having issues of hearing loss, maybe having other issues that you need to, talk quietly to the person or be more gentle with the person. But because of ignorance, they don't know. And they feel, oh, I have to do it because that's the only way I can get across to the person or get the person interactive.
Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Our guest tonight is Damilola Grillo, a gerontologist and advocacy director of Hold the Age, a non-governmental organization. And we're talking about elderly abuse, which was aggravated by the lockdown imposed to prevent the spread of COVID-19. You talked about government intervention. Some people will say that this is going to be a real problematic one, because in terms of even what government is supposed to do in terms of pensions, for instance, I mean, just a few weeks ago, about a month ago, we saw pensioners threatening to go on, well, not strike, to go on demonstrations on the streets because consequential adjustments had not been made to their pension as a result of the minimum wage. And now we are also telling government to take on board regulating, say, care homes, or, you know, making some policy or law to protect the elderly. So far, so good. From your own work, has there been any interest in looking after that population from the side of government?
Well, with the Coalition of Society on the Rights of Older People in Nigeria, which is the body that, you know, like a civil society that brings about all the other agencies that are into aging issues under their own umbrella, they've been trying so hard to get the government involved. Yes, the Minister of Humanitarian also, you know, in conjunction, called them in sometimes last year and gave palliatives. That is the only measure that was put in place to, you know, care for the older people then. But I can't really say those palliatives were distributed around the whole country for older adults. Those that received it, you know, will come out to say they received it. But I didn't see, in my own state, I didn't see anybody that, you know, I only know that private bodies took it upon themselves. Even my organizations, from friends and families, made sure that we handed, you know, palliatives to older adults. Government needs to do more. They need to do more. And we have more of them. We have more of older adults in government taking up positions. And I look at them and say, oh, you are living comfortably. The 0.01% of the elite that are older adults are living comfortably. And what is going to happen to the vulnerable ones? Can we do something for that? We need welfare packages for our older adults. We need health insurance for our older adults. Yes, I know that in some states, like in Oyo State, UCH Ibadan has some sort of health insurance for older adults. We need more of this around the states. I think by having more of this, we're cushioning the effects of the difficulties that our older adults are having. And by so doing, we're also cushioning the effects on the children as well. You can't imagine having a sandwich generation. You're taking care of your own children, at the same time taking care of yourself, and then taking care of your parents in this climate where everybody is so much financially stifled. So what is going to happen? Everybody cannot have a mental breakdown at the same time. We need the government to also look into the welfare packages for older adults.
Now, some people will argue that, you know, perhaps, and I don't know if this is true, but you're a gerontologist, and people who might be able to afford your services are people who are educated and people of at least some means, because of course you're going to get paid for that. But then, you know, if this is the lot of some of the population whom you deal with, there'll be questions around the population who are uneducated and who are also poor. Have you been able to, I don't know if you have been able to wrap your head around, you know, what will be the lot of those people if this is what the lot of those who have money is?
Okay, for my own organization, like a lot of people ask this question, I try to balance it up, and God willing, family and friends have been very, very supportive. As much as we do for the elite in quote, we try as much as possible to balance with the vulnerable as well. So we have a charity arm that, you know, settles the vulnerable older adults. We try as much as possible to reach out to the ones that we know can't pay for the services. And some elites too try as much as possible to tell us to, look for one person or two persons that need vulnerable that need the same service and then pay it forward. So we've been able to do that, but there are more vulnerable people that need the services. There are even more vulnerable people that do not know that they need the services until you start talking to them, and then they start telling you what is going on with them.
What about those living with a disability?
Those living with disability, it is really hard. And in a society where we do not even have disability friendly environment for disabled people living with disability, it is actually very hard. So to get caregivers, you have to, have a need social care needs assessments done to get a proper caregiver for them. And the older ones that are vulnerable that can't even afford it, what's going to happen to them? It's a rhetorical question that can't be answered.
It's the case of an elderly woman who eventually died as a result of abuse when her children couldn't reach her. You had to intervene in that matter. Was there any prosecution for those who were involved in that particular case of abuse?
I can't really say much in that area. It's left for the relatives, the children, to take up the case and see if they want to prosecute or not. But, we live in Nigeria. A lot of people get away with nonsense. A lot of people get it. And it's unfortunate that as a lot of children want to make their parents comfortable, especially those that are abroad, and they do this so well. In Mama's case, our children are lovely. They took care of Mama and all of that. But unfortunately, Mama was surrounded by bad people. They gave their mother comfort, but the people living around her were just bad people that took advantage of her. So, getting prosecution, do we even have a regulatory body as we have for sexual violence in Nigeria? Do we have anything like that for elder abuse? No, we do not. And as much as possible, we keep telling maybe the Ministry of Welfare to come up with a body that will address elder abuse on its own.
It shouldn't be joined with sexual and
No, it shouldn't be
violence.
joined with that at all, because even elders are abused sexually. Yeah, we have people abusing elders sexually in Nigeria.
That's very worrisome.
It is very worrisome.
For those who are worried, who might be watching this and saying, I don't know how to, how do they identify cases of abuse in their loved ones if they're not speaking up?
They won't be able to until a stranger comes in and then they just talk. It's difficult to break that barrier. Or sometimes older people say that, oh, I do not want to belabor my child. I do not want to, put too much burden on my child because the child too is facing his or her own issues. So, but when a stranger comes in, like me, when I come in, they just find it easy to talk.
Yeah,
and
but when should children begin to worry about their elderly or their
if you know
parents?
Whether you live in Nigeria or live abroad, make sure that you communicate with your parents every day or every other day. Like everybody knows me on Facebook has always shouting or always posting, call your parents. That's very synonymous with me on Facebook. Maybe on weekends, call your parents, send messages to them, do a video call with WhatsApp. Even if they don't have a WhatsApp, look for somebody that has take the phone to them and then make sure that you talk to them. Then apart from that, if you notice any strange behavioral activities going on by talking to them, that is what's it called now? An alarm for you to know that there's something going on. Or when you find out that your parent is talking about, oh, send me money today, send me money tomorrow, and you're wondering what they're using the money to do, that's also an alarm for you to know that there's something going on. Then when they find it difficult to talk over the phone, they're stammering, they're stuttering, which wasn't happening before, that means maybe somebody is standing in front of them, threatening them, making them afraid. That's another way to know that there's something going wrong. And there are also children that I keep telling people too that if your parents fears you, it's an emotional abuse. It shouldn't get to that point where your parents fear you. No. You have to, meet each other at a middle point and come to consensus, because our parents can't, there's something called autonomy. They raised us and, we now want to take care of them. We should also be weary of not forcing our ways on them. we should be able to let them understand that, oh, I'm doing this for your own good. Do you want it or not?
Odamilola Grillo, thank you for your work. Well done.
Thank you
and
very
thank
much.
you for your time with us on Hard Copy.
Thank you very much.
That's the program tonight, but as always, we want to hear from you. Please use the handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.